Sometimes you feel like a nut. Hey, it's me again, Jonathan Moore, licensed massage therapist. I am back once again, this time today with holistic lifestyle coach, counselor, Fatima Shabazz. She's going to be joining me today while we discuss some of the processes of a detox, and she's also going to be informing us on how to maintain healthy eating habits. What are you going to tell us?
Holistic lifestyles.
Okay.
What does it mean to live holistically? And what is a plant-based diet?
All right. Plant-based diet. We got some interesting stuff ahead. So just to jump straight into it, I'm gonna just kind of continue over where I had left off the other day. But hopefully, if you didn't understand the systems overview, you went back and you looked at it once again, and so you know it's helping out. It's making some sense. Okay, some sense is better than no sense, and it's better than nonsense too. All right, so in the process of this, I just wanted to make mention to, like, in regards to detoxification, before we get to its definition, I want you to know that preparation, processing, combination of other herbs, foods, medications, whatever, and controlling the dosage are all important factors in performing any kind of detox, okay? So keep that in mind when you're going through it. Also, I wanted to make mention that detoxes across the board, there are many detoxes, there are many forms of them, but I think we're going to talk about one form of detox today, actually several forms of detox today, all in regards to how to do that the best, healthiest way, and taking into consideration your individual, biology and makeup, okay? So here we go. So I'm going to just make a few definitions clear. If you don't have a piece of paper and a pen already, get one. I'll wait. Alright, you're back. Thank you. Here we go. First definition is health. A state of being free from illness or injury, physical or mental. So keep that in mind, Health is a state of well-being, free from illness or injury, physical or mental. Illness, a disease or period of sickness affecting the body and mind. Injury, an instance of being injured, harmed, or damaged. Addiction, the fact or condition of being dependent to a particular substance, thing, or activity. Sugar, any class of soluble, crystalline, typically sweet-tasting carbohydrates found in living tissue and exemplified by glucose and sucrose. Alright? We didn't even address fructose yet, but we're going to talk about that. Protein, any nitrogenous organic compound consisting of large molecules composed of one or more long chains of amino acids, essential to all living organisms, especially as structural components of body tissue, i.e. hair, muscle, collagen, and as enzymes and antibodies. Fat, a naturally oily or greasy substance occurring in animal bodies, especially when deposited as a layer under the skin or around certain organs. Carbohydrate, a large group of organic compounds occurring in foods and living tissues, including sugar, starch, and cellulose, typically broken down to release energy in the animal bodies. You're a human being, face it, you're an animal, okay? But you're a different kind of animal. Superfood, a nutrient-rich food considered to be especially beneficial for health and well-being. Toxic, which quite a few of us are, relating to or caused by poison. And the poison is that's what she's about. Not the poison, but the remedy for the poison. You know what I'm saying? All right. Detox, the process of removing toxic substance or qualities. Mental detox, and this is also brings me to a second type of detox that you have to also keep in mind. Mental detox, which she put it in my head. Very key thing. Mental detox is the process of removing toxic forms of thoughts and impulses. All right. So the way you think could be one way that you're toxic. Okay. Lipid. Any class of organic compounds that are fatty acids or their derivatives and are insoluble in water but soluble organic solvents, including natural oils, waxes, and steroids. Um, and so, with that in mind, the other day, you and I we were having a discussion because I'm a vegetarian, 4 years running actually, and I'm pretty proud to say that. But I didn't know that I was still consuming meat in various forms that were unbeknownst to me. This young lady has been helping me identify some of those things by sticking more or less to, not more or less, just by sticking basically and primarily on living food diet, a plant-based diet. So, tell us more about a plant-based diet.
Yes. Well, first, I noticed that the first definition that you read was health. You talked about what it means to be healthy. And my personal definition of what it means to be healthy is for the body to be able to come into contact with sickness or illness and recover. You know, that's how you know you're in a good state of health. When you're able to come into contact with these things and bounce back.
Right.
Um, a plant-based diet. A plant-based diet is basically what the name suggests. Plant-based diet. So you're eating foods that are derived from plants, things that are natural in nature.
Coconut milk.
Yeah, like nut milks, fresh juices made from fruits, vegetables, sprouts, and things like that.
She made that. What's in this again?
This here is coconut milk with cocoa powder, cinnamon, vanilla bean, and coconut sugar.
So there's no soy in this?
There's
No
soy in
soy?
it.
No lactose supplement or substitutes, excuse me?
No.
This is just all just plant spices and some nut milk. Some
Yep.
coconut milk.
Yep.
That
And
is
this
tasty.
this is a perfect base for mother's milk.
Mother's milk.
If you guys know what mother's milk is. If you don't know this.
Alright. So please continue. You were telling us more about the plant-based diet.
Yes. Why is a plant-based diet so important? In today's society, many people are going green. A lot of people are getting into holistic living and a plant-based diet. Because more people are starting to find out that that is the only way for us to be able to maintain optimum health.
Optimum health.
Yeah, to maintain optimum health, is consuming foods that communicate with our bodies.
Okay.
And processed, packaged, frozen, canned foods, they do not have the capability to communicate with our cells. And we all know, and if you guys went to school, cells are the building blocks of life. And our cells, they need the information and the energy that is stored in living foods in order to be able to repair and reproduce themselves. So you can only find this in living foods. Living foods, they contain light pole frequencies. What is a light pole frequency? Light pole frequencies are particles of information that are trapped inside the food from the sun and the cosmos. That's what light pole frequencies are. So when we consume a plant-based diet, we consume these light pole frequencies.
Okay.
And the light pole frequencies, they have the ability to activate our DNA and stimulate our growth hormones.
Stimulate growth hormones.
Yes, stimulates the growth hormone, and when the growth hormone is stimulated, it aids and assists in slowing down the aging process.
Slowing down the aging process. You mean to tell me I could live a lot longer and healthier by not consuming? I guess if you're saying living foods, then I guess the opposite of a living food would be a dead food, maybe,
Well, yes,
or a processed food.
a processed food. A processed food is a dead food. It has no life force energy. You know, you cannot get life from death.
Right, right.
We're,
So,
we're living organisms,
okay.
right? And we have to feed our bodies living things, and not in the form of an animal.
Right.
You see?
Not in the form of an animal.
Not in the form of
What
an
would you
animal.
What would you call the consumption of any flesh? What would you call that? Is that like
Barbarity, cannibalism,
cannibalism?
bestiality.
Ugh.
Yeah, the animal.
Vampirism? That sounds like a vampire.
Yeah.
Consuming the life force of another to maintain your lifestyle, your life force. That's vampirism. You know.
Yeah, and
That's crazy.
another thing with the living foods is they connect us back to the divine because they contain the light cold frequencies.
Light cold frequency.
Yeah, the living foods they activate the strands within our DNA. The living foods they help to keep your pineal gland decalcified so that you can think and vibrate on a certain plane.
So for those of us who aren't aware of what the pineal gland is or does, could you give us a little insight on what that is?
Well, the pineal gland, it does several different things. But mainly, what you want to... reason why you want to eat superfoods and living foods in terms of your pineal gland is so that your body's hormones and your circadian rhythm and everything is in flow and in sync and in balance with the universal clock. So when your diet is balanced, your hormones are balanced, you're in tune, you're in sync with the rhythm of the planet, of how things flow in harmony.
That's interesting. You said several things that kind of struck me, right? So one, the first thing that struck me was the light code frequency. Foods, natural foods, organic living foods specifically containing higher quantities of, or just a pure quality of these light code frequencies, so to speak, yeah? So if, let's just make this kind of spiritual, just for a split second. Let's say that I was a divine being, right, hypothetically, and I create a realm of existence, and I create life forms within this realm of existence, and I provide for them a food source, and I put in this food source things that are going to sustain the life force of the organisms that are placed in this realm. So those would be the foods that basically you're calling a light code frequency, yes? The foods that contain that initial spark of energy that was created that comes from the very beginning.
Yes, living foods, not foods made in the laboratory, not foods genetically modified by man. Foods that are just natural. That's natural. There's a lot of hybrid foods, and because of that, you have a lot of hybrid people. We live in a society of hybrid beings.
What would you describe as a hybrid food?
A hybrid food, there's so many different hybrid foods.
I don't even know.
A hybrid food is a food that is not created by nature. It's been altered by man.
That sounds like genetically modified.
Yeah.
Yeah, to some degree.
To some degree it is.
To some degree. Not quite, but close. Okay.
The way that it's grown, it's typically not grown in a natural environment. It's not grown in the earth. You have a lot of hybrids that are grown via heirloom, hydroponics, and things like that.
These are some interesting things. I guess, just to kind of keep us moving. I guess you asked me the other day to name a few 10 items, 10 healthy superfoods that I could come up off the top of my head with that I knew to be living and both nutritious and delicious. So at the time I couldn't really come up with a few of those, but I did my homework. and I came up with a list. So is it all right if I run my list by you, and you give me some insight as to what your thoughts on my list are?
Okay.
All right. So I came up with 10 superfoods that are for overall good health and well-being. The first of which was lemon, which has 100% of your daily intake of vitamin C, increases HDLs, which are high density lipids, all right, which means that those are the healthy forms of cholesterol, okay, and strengthens bones and antioxidant, which means it's a cancer fighter, because cancer is basically a radical cell, overgrowth of cells just reproducing and reproducing and reproducing without any type of information telling them to stop. So, what do you think of lemon?
I like lemons.
Mm.
Yes. Lemons are electric, and they help raise the body pH levels, and they help free the body of mucus and toxins. And also they help repair the body's mucous membrane.
Okay. When you say raise the body's pH level, what do you mean by raise the body's pH level?
It helps keeps the body in a more alkaline state.
Okay. So, and what does being in an alkaline state mean? Is that like being in a healthier state of being, or is that like being in a more disease or injured or illness?
Well, like I said
State?
before, we're living organisms.
Mm-hmm.
The body is electric,
Okay.
and in order for us to function optimally, we have to keep our bodies in a slightly alkaline state.
Okay.
Because if our body gets in an acidic state, because we have a high inflammatory diet,
Right.
and eat a lot of mucus forming foods, then that's usually when the onset of disease kicks in. But lemons are one thing that helps to keep the body in a more electric alkaline state.
Okay. All right. So my second food is avocado, which is high in satisfying fats, a healthy cholesterol, which reduces risk of cardiovascular diseases and increases absorption of beta carotene. Now, if you remember what we discussed the other day, beta carotene, and I'm going to go back in my notes because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Beta carotene, precursor to vitamin A, which helps the intestines absorb vitamin E, which is essential for skin issues. Remember the tiger claws? You're rubbing it on the belly. Wear your stripes proudly, baby. Wear those stripes proudly. What do you think about avocado?
Avocado is also very alkaline.
Right.
It's a healthy fat. It helps keep the skin soft.
Right.
I love avocados. I incorporate it into a lot of my meals.
Okay.
Yeah. So avocado, that's a good superfood to have on your list. It's very fulfilling. It's alkaline. It's a healthy fat, and it's actually a beautifying fruit also.
Oh.
Yeah, it's one of those fruits that help to keep you looking young and beautiful, and it helps with the elasticity of your skin.
Is that the secret to your beautiful skin complexion? I mean, ladies and gentlemen, you can't really see it on the camera, but this woman's got a gorgeous skin complexion. Look at this healthy glow. Even, smooth, that's beautiful. It's amazing. And she gets plenty of vitamin D. That's sunlight. Vitamin D. Shall we continue?
Yes.
Okay. So my third superfood was garlic, which is a powerful disease fighter, lowers cholesterol and blood pressure, and is high in allicin, which is an anti-inflammatory, which means like she said, disease occurs more on the acidic side, which means that inflammation or swelling is reduced. Anti-inflammatory, anti-swelling, anti-hardening, anti-overwork, better for your body. What do you think of garlic?
Garlic, it's very good for culinary uses to cook with in terms of taste. Medicinally, I typically wouldn't recommend garlic, although it is antiviral and antifungal.
Where's my pencil? Let me make a little correction. Okay. Anything else you?
It has an acid base.
Okay.
And it can be very toxic to the body also.
It can be toxic
Yes.
to the body. Is that in excessive quantities, or is that just in like regular consumption?
Well, it depends on the person.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So what kind of persons would this not be a good recommendation for?
Someone whose body is in a very acidic state.
What would some symptoms of that form of acidity in the body be?
Diabetics, people who suffer from obesity and high blood pressure.
High blood pressure. Oh, that's right. I forget. Garlic is also a blood thinning agent. So, like, if you have high blood pressure, that usually means that you have plaque or high concentrations of LDL, which is a low density lipid, trapped in your blood vessels. Which means that if you thin the blood, you're giving the blood the accessibility to move into places that it would normally be going slower, and that also means that you're also going to build up a collection of dead blood cells. Yeah. Oh, so yeah, we definitely want to. Okay, keep garlic off the list. Keep garlic off the list. I'm 2 for 3. That's not bad so far. That's pretty good. Should we continue?
Yes, like I said, just to go back to garlic.
Okay.
If you're using it for culinary reasons, so be it. But if you're using it medicinally, there's other things that you can use that will have a stronger and better effect on the body than garlic.
Such as?
You can use things, if you say for instance you're using garlic for its antimicrobial and antifungal properties. One thing that you can do is just get more vitamin D from the sun.
More vitamin D.
Because it's also antifungal and antiviral. And
antiviral.
You can't beat that hands down.
Sunlight, the source. Where your foods get your food. If you're a meat eater, where your food is getting its food from, the sun. Okay, you think about that. Think about that. You want to continue? So 2 for 3. 2 for 3. All right. My fourth food on my list is lentils, which is 30% of total calories from protein. So people who say you can't really get protein from a plant source, sadly mistaken. Don't forget, protein is it wraps all cells of life. You know, all building block, all cells in the body need protein in order to be synthesized. Plain and simple. You get that more in your plant-based sources than you do your meat sources. All right.
But my question, I don't mean to cut your wisdom.
Right. Please don't cut my wisdom. Don't cut my wisdom.
But my question to go a step further would be, what is the body made up of?
More water.
Okay, but is the body made up of protein, or is the body made up of minerals, or?
The body is made up essentially of minerals and vitamins, in combination with water, which creates certain cellular reactions that attract and repel other cells of either like or dislike function.
Proteins, I think a lot of times people, especially when you're dealing with people that are against veganism or vegetarianism, that's something that they always say, oh, well, you're not getting enough protein, your body, it needs the protein. But I think protein, this whole thing of protein is something that's boosted up by the meat industry. Because it's really not the proteins that we need, it's the minerals.
The minerals, you say. It's the minerals.
It's the minerals.
Not the proteins that we need, the minerals.
It's the minerals that we need. The body needs the minerals.
That's right.
Not the protein.
That's right.
So, often, a lot of times, people, they get confused and thrown off by that whole word, protein.
Right. And you're absolutely right, because I forget that proteins can't bind to anything without the presence of minerals. Minerals complete the whole cellular matrix, because minerals are basically salt. And salts bind things. They bind them. They are the ties that bind. Salts, minerals. Minerals, minerals, minerals.
Minerals. Minerals.
Minerals.
But lentils, I would say for someone that's transitioning to a plant-based diet,
Okay.
lentils are a great source of minerals.
Right.
They're a good source of minerals, compared to many other legumes and things in the bean family, like garbanzo beans or red kidney beans or black beans, and they're a lot easier to digest.
Because a lot of those other beans that you just named, the garbanzo beans, the kidney beans, those are high in nitrogen, yeah.
Yes, they're very high in nitrogen, and
And what does nitrogen do in the human body? Creates gas. Beans, the magical fruit. The more you eat, you know the rest.
so
So choose your bean source wisely. Choose your bean source very wisely.
yes. Like I said, for people that are transitioning to a plant-based diet, that is something that you might want to consider, just to have that bulk. You know, I've sat and talked with many of people that have tried to take on this lifestyle, and they said, I'm always hungry. I need something that's more fulfilling. So French lentils, the black lentils, split peas. They're pretty high in iron and zinc and many different minerals that the body needs. But at the same time, they're also very high in nitrogen, and they can be kind of explosive. In your digestive
West
system.
Coast.
So you also want to take that into consideration.
Ooh, you're gonna be walking to the bathroom with that. Explosive. Whoop 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 whoop. What?
Oh, and another thing, if you are going to have beans, you want to make sure that you definitely do not mix them with white rice.
Don't mix them with white rice.
Because it's a starch, it's a glue, and once it gets inside of you, it's just going to...
Yo, that's crazy. You making balloons. You making glue balloons filled with nitrogen. And we wonder why I hurt to go to the bathroom. Oh man, I can't believe that just came out of me. I don't believe that it just came out of you either. Moving right along.
Yeah.
Next on my list, I'm 2 for 4, 2 for 2, I should say. Now I'm gonna say 2 for 1.5. Okay, because that's a transitional, so I get some credit on that one.
Yeah, you get some credit on that one.
All right. My next on my list is quinoa. All right. Now you originally hit me with the question because I was like oatmeal. I was like oatmeal. I'm gonna go with oatmeal. And she's like, why are you gonna go with oatmeal? What if I don't do well with wheat, with oats, with barley? I was like, and I didn't want to say the obvious and be like quinoa. I was like trying to come up with other thoughts, but quinoa was just it. Like that. At the end of the day, like I couldn't think of nothing else. It was quinoa. And she hit me with millet and teff and some other things. But let me tell you about quinoa, okay? Quinoa can be used as a cereal or a pseudo cereal. Lower protein content of some beans, like lentils. It does contain more protein than wild rice and oats. Right? Hold on. And it is a complete source of protein. Then source of diet and a source of dietary fiber and phosphorus, and is high in magnesium and iron. An excellent source of calcium for not just vegans but lactose intolerant people. Lactose tolerant doesn't mean that you're processing it. It just means that you just adapted to having lactose in your body. Human beings, we not digestive acids and enzymes. They don't mix well with milk. Okay, with lactose. Sprouting the quinoa, and this was big to me. Sprouting quinoa increases its nutritional value. So it might have had that much protein before when it was dry, but I soaked it in some water, let a little green little sprout start poking out. Boosted that nutrition. What do you think about quinoa?
I love quinoa. Actually, I just had a quinoa patty today. It is everything that you said it was, and some,
And so much more.
and so much more. Um, yeah, it's a nutritional powerhouse.
Okay.
Very high in minerals,
Right, right.
and it's very fulfilling. It's one of the original whole grains.
One of the original whole grains.
Yeah, original whole grains. Not a lot of these, processed things that you see now in the store.
Yeah, processed.
Enriched long grain rice and
Rich long grain rice.
all of this broken down white hybrid stuff. Quinoa, yeah, one of the original whole grains. Very nutritional powerhouse, and very good for your body.
Sounds like a word that starts with T, ends in Ruth. Truth. Moving on. Next on my list was beet, alright, which is an excellent source of folates and a good source of manganese and beta-ines, which may function to reduce homocysteine, a toxin harmful to blood vessels and cause cardiovascular disease. This means that the beet beats that. The beet beats the cardiovascular disease. And also contains a nitrate found to reduce resting blood pressure. So if you have low blood pressure, for the people who, excuse me, I just said that like I had an R in the place of the L. If you have low blood pressure, you may want to use caution when consuming beet, okay? But aside from that, it's excellent for reducing high blood pressure at rest. What do you think of beet?
I like beets a lot. They have a very earthly taste. They're very high in vitamins and minerals. It's a nutritional powerhouse as well. I like to juice beet juice, and I think that's another good one.
What most people don't know, and I found this very interesting, was that they were using red beet juice in conjunction with a few other superfoods, which I have a few of those on my list. The Gerson therapy protocol was using beet as a way to detoxify the liver, mostly because the properties in beet are similar to that in the hemoglobin in the blood that produced and synthesized by the liver.
Well, if you just look at a beet, when you cut open a beet and you look at it, I mean, to me, just the imagery of it, it's a very powerful vegetable, and it resembles something living.
It resembles blood.
And I've seen beets before that actually looks like a heart or something.
Look like a heart.
So.
And if you leave the beet, if you put beet juice on the counter, if you cut a beet and you got a little bit of that curdle, like when the juice mixes with the air and it bubbles up a little bit, give it 15 minutes. Come back and see what it looks like. It does the same thing as your blood. It coagulates. Gotta consume it while it's alive. The beet, it bleeds for you. Don't bleed for the beet. Next on my list was kale. Similar to wild cabbage, high in beta carotene, remember, precursor to vitamin A, essential for vitamin E absorption and, for the skin. Tiger stripes, get the vitamin D to go with the vitamin E, to go with the vitamin A. It's getting interesting, alright? Vitamin K, alright, it's also high in vitamin K, which is essential for blood clotting. Alright, so like somebody who gets cut and they don't seal up quick enough, is because they're lacking vitamin K, which is essential to producing something called a platelet, otherwise known as a thrombocyte to all you med techs, alright? You med people. You need that. Vitamin C, rich in calcium. Calcium is essential to all cells in the body, It's an electrifying mineral. Muscle action, it happens because of calcium. If you don't believe me, check out the sliding filament theory. It's not even a theory, it's fact. Alright? Also kale has high contents of sulfur So I can't really pronounce this word. It's kind of funky. Sulforaphane when minced or chopped, which means that when you chop it up, you release the sulforaphane, which is a chemical with potent anti-cancer properties, and it belongs. Boiling reduces that, so you don't want to boil kale. You could steam it, and steaming it actually increases the some of the calcium. Um, but a chemical with potent anti-cancer properties nonetheless, and it also has a chemical in it which repairs and processes DNA information. So if the information was put on there wrong because you was consuming a dead food or processed food, that means your processed food is causing your DNA to replicate cells that are meant to only consume processed food. Not meant to consume processed food, but have adapted and adjusted to eating processed dead food. So you're going to want to repair that DNA. What do you think of kale?
I like kale. It's another nutritional powerhouse. It's recommended on my list. It's very high in what a good friend of mine would say, photovoltaic.
Photovoltaic. What up, Minister Inky?
Photovoltaic energy. It's definitely a nutritional powerhouse and a superfood. It's easily assimilated by the body, and it helps to keep the body functioning in a very optimal state of health.
Alright. Next on my list is apples. Reduces risk of colon cancer, prostate cancer, and lung cancer. Actually increases skeletal muscle mass and increases brown fat, which is basically your muscle, your fine muscle tissue, and decreases white fat cells, which is your adipose tissue, which is basically your sugar storage, place where that disease is occurring. We didn't even get there yet, but I'm coming to it. Don't worry, hold your horses. All right, and for people who are glucose intolerant, meaning like you got like a bad that type 2 style diabetes, this actually helps your insulin receptors step it up a notch. All right, step your nutrition game up. Okay, upgrade you. She can do it. She did it for me. She upgrade you. What do you think of apples?
Apples they're good. Apples are really good. Some depends on the person that is consuming the apples, because apples, just like the garlics and many other vegetables that would considerably in a normal person be healthy.
In a normal person be healthy
because of their levels of estrogen.
Right.
It can cause health disruptors.
Can disrupt the person's health.
Yes. So, in a person that is normally considered to be healthy, they're a delicious treat.
But if you're unhealthy, you got to use caution.
And
check with your doctor. I'm studying to be a doctor. She's a licensed holistic healthcare practitioner. We're not saying stay away from your doctor. Go seek your doctor's advice. If you got a holistic healthcare practitioner, you're getting it even better. But definitely seek professional advice. Okay, what we're giving you is just a general overview. It's not to replace anybody's information. It's not to replace your doctor's recommendations either. But if you want to get away from what the doctor's giving you in terms of, you're going to change your eating habits, okay? Disclaimer. Message! Strawberries. Excellent source of vitamin C, very low in saturated fats, cholesterol and sodium. Also, a folate, high in potassium and manganese, and has more vitamin C than an orange. Strawberry. You ever heard the expression, big things come in small packages? So much flavor, so little size, so much more vitamin C than that big ass orange that's dehydrating you more times than not. If you got some skin irritations and you eat a lot of oranges, you might want to check your source of vitamin C.
Oh, and you asked me about hybrid fruits.
Mm.
The navel orange is a perfect example of a hybrid fruit. If
You don't say.
Yeah, next time you get a chance, just look at a navel orange closely.
Like a belly button?
No, that looks actually more real than the navel
Oh,
orange.
okay. See, that's
But
organic.
the top of
You
it
know what I'm saying?
does-
That's that organic.
The top of a navel orange does have that little thing going
It's
on.
got that little. It looks like somebody just pulled it off of the placenta.
It looks like somebody just pulled it off of a plastic bottle.
Like it, like somebody just get like a little plastic bottle, just gave birth to it and just said, eh, 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 eh. That's how your body's gonna react too. Eh, eh, eh. You know that the ceasing dolphin sound. You know. Shout out to PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. You know, we trying to get people away from consuming y'all friends. You know what I'm saying? They're my friends too. But I'm eating like this because I'm trying to live long and prosperous. Starch, whatever. What's up, Pharrell? I hear you a vegetarian too. Some interesting people in the music industry, vegetarians and vegans. Common, Pharrell. Look, Fanashaa, Jonathan. Oh yeah, that dude cool. But yo, if you need social media, if you need an influence, a person or of people to follow the people that are more conscious in what it is that they do. Conscious meaning that they apply intellect and thought to what their actions and their music. Pharrell, he does that. Common, he does that. Forrest Whitaker, yo, he does that. Yo,
I'm up all night to get lucky.
I'm up all night. Yo, that's what healthy eating do. Yo, you need less rest. I'm just saying you need less rest because you eating a healthier source of energy, which means you got a lot more energy reserves than most people. Yeah, I just challenged somebody to a 2-mile run the other day. I haven't ran in like 3 months, yo. He's a meat eater. Oh, his argument: meat eaters, you know, we consume more meat. You know, we can endure more. No. Why you get dusted, buddy? You got dusted. Barefoot too. I got scars to prove it, but you know, you see that? Barefoot, concrete. And my feet dirty because I walk in the dirt. Because you need that too. The earth's got to charge. You got to charge. Friction. Energy move on. Yeah, man. Moving right along. Cilantro. This is number 10. Contains antioxidants, antibacterial, relieves anxiety and insomnia. D. Documented as a traditional treatment for type 2 diabetes. Holy. And why is that? Because it increases level of high density lipids, which also increase the synthesis of bile by the liver. Why is that? Because the liver uses cholesterol to produce bile. That's what it does. And then, which also increases the breakdown of cholesterols into their other compounds. So you having a hard time processing some sugar. Cilantro will help that processing of the sugars a whole lot better. Unless, of course, you're eating a high fructose corn syrup. We were going to get into that, but we're going to save it just for a little bit longer because I know you're curious. You're curious. Yeah, you are.
Cilantro. I like cilantro a lot. I cook with it a lot. More so, I like the culantro. It has a stronger flavor than the cilantro. However, the cilantro, studies have shown that it has been really good at helping to remove sodium fluoride.
Sodium fluoride. What is sodium fluoride? Help us understand sodium fluoride. Fluoride. Interesting. Sodium. Salt with fluoride. Interesting. Tell us more.
Sodium fluoride, it's a chemical that causes disharmony within the body.
Disharmony within the body.
But when you think about it, on the back of the toothpaste, it has sodium fluoride, but it also says don't swallow it. Right? They don't want you to swallow the
Look,
fluoride.
but don't touch. Touch, but don't taste. Taste, but don't swallow.
So, if we're not supposed to swallow the sodium chloride when we're brushing our teeth, why would they put it in the drinking water for us to drink when we're not even supposed to swallow it when we brush our teeth with it? But sodium chloride, it has been known to make people more docile.
More docile. What does that mean? Is that a mental thing or is that a physical thing? Or is that even both?
It's both, because once it manifests in the mind, it's going to manifest within your physical. So, the sodium fluoride, it has the ability to basically create a more dumbed down society.
Dumbed down society. It's interesting that you
more controllable.
More controllable. It's interesting that you say that too, because I was reading something on Holocaust Nazi Germany, right? You know that Adolf Hitler was using fluoride. He was adding high amounts of fluoride to the water to make them more docile, as you said, more dumbed down. The more stupid or docile, not stupid, excuse me, the more docile a person is, the more susceptible they are to easily being influenced. So you can't really blame some of the people that did what they did. They didn't have, they was just following the leader. And the leader was putting the fluoride in their water. He was poisoning them. He was dumbing them down, making them easier to control.
But making tonics with cilantro is really good at removing sodium chloride out of the body.
Detoxifying the sodium chloride out of the body.
Sodium chloride.
Excuse me, sodium fluoride. Sodium chloride is table salt. That's on my neck. That's my next thing. My bad. Sodium chloride is good. Yes. Sodium fluoride, bad.
Yes, the sodium. If you use the cilantro and parsley together, they have a really good detoxifying effect on the body.
Nice. And they also clean out the lymphatic system, and the lymphatic and the pituitary, which is essential to healthy, beautiful skin. More, look at this woman's skin. Did we talk about her skin? Look at this. Look at that. Maybe it's Maybelline. Maybe it's naturally. I think it's just naturally. She's royal. So okay. So my last and final, ingredient for healthy superfoods on my list is salt. Okay. Now, I want to be specific about salt. Okay. Salt is a compound composed mostly of sodium chloride, not fluoride, sodium chloride. It is essential for all animal life, but can be dangerous in excess, okay? That means that, like, you consume too much of it, it will dry you out. Now, let me be specific about the differences in salt, okay? Now, you have salt, and you have what's considered an iodized salt. Now, an iodized salt is table salt plus small amounts of various salts of the element iodine, which is predominantly iodine. Predominantly, a lot more people suffer from iodine deficiency, which affects approximately 2 billion people worldwide. Okay. Now, this is the leading and most preventable cause of mental retardation, problems related to the thyroid gland, because the thyroid uses iodine to synthesize thyroxine, T4, and triiodine, T3, which are hormones produced by the thyroid to regulate, you know the answer, to regulate metabolism, okay? Regulate metabolism. People who are hypothyroid, who have hypothyroid problems, meaning the thyroid is hypo, meaning po with an O, meaning deficient, meaning doesn't produce much. Hyper, meaning more. Hyperthyroidism means you might have too much iodine in the system. Or maybe, no, it's not too much iodine in the system, but you might want to look into that. I'm still looking into that, because I'm still kind of, when I hear that diagnosis of hyperthyroidism, I'm kind of confused on some parts. But I'm doing my research on that. The iodine is essential and is key in maintaining healthy thyroid conditions, a healthy thyroid gland, which, like I said, is important for maturity of T3 and T4. Now, T3 and T4 are essential for, you hear the T in there. You always hear about T cells. It's your T cell that is really your immunity. Your white blood cell is what consumes what the T cell attaches to. Meaning, I'm a virus, and I'm floating around in a human body. Huh, I'm a T cell. Look at me. I see a virus. Hey, other T cells, come over here. Check this guy out. And so the T cells attach to the virus because the body doesn't recognize what the virus is. It only recognizes it as a foreign invader once the T cell has identified that there's something that doesn't belong in there. And so after these T cells all attach, the T cell is what's actually digestible or recognized by the body, and anything that's produced by the body can't consume. And so the white blood cell, which is a carnivore, comes along, says, huh, I'm a big white blood cell. That, oh, look at this globule of T cells. I'm hungry. Yum, 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 yum. And so in that process of digestion, the white blood cell finally gets full and says, you know what? I ate a big meal. Let me take a poop. And what comes out, the back end, is what you call your antivirus. That's your synthesized immunity. Your body reacting to a foreign invader by using itself to defend, to recognize and identify foreign invader. So look at your T cells. But what do you think about iodized salt?
I think that salt, just like sugar, is something that we tend to have too much of in our diet. If I was to recommend salt, it would be a black salt.
A black salt. Why black salt?
Black salt because, for one, the Himalayan black salt is native to India and the Kalamaka salt. It's the levels of sodium that it leaves in the body are a lot lower than typical table salt, and even some of the pink salts. It's easier on the arteries. The black salt, it helps to deal with flatulence. It helps with
gas. That's that nitrogen explosion.
Yeah. It helps to regulate the water in the body, which is many of the other salts, they can have a reverse effect and cause you to become more bloated. So a salt that I would recommend would be the black salt.
Black salt.
Black salt.
See, that brings me to the end of my list. You know, what do you think so far of what it is that I have?
I thought you had some really good superfoods on here. The cilantro, the avocado, the lemon, the quinoa. Those are very good. Some things that I would have loved to see added to your list would have been more berries.
More berries.
Yeah, more berries.
So I was touching on the strawberries. You know, I just wanted to go in kind of light.
Yeah, because the berries, they contain a lot of life force energy. You know, the berries are the meat. The
berries are the meat.
Yeah, the leaves are the medicine.
The leaves are the medicine. There's a verse that says, what is that? How does it go? Let the fruit of the earth be as bread or as meat into your flesh, and let the plants and the herbs are for the healing of the nation. It's something similar to that effect.
Yeah.
If you into bibliological study, go ahead and help me out, correct me on that. All right.
But more fruits, more vegetables definitely, and more living waters. Coconut water.
Coconut water.
Of course, we know the body is made up mainly of water, so we want to make sure that our sources of water are living waters. So more berries, more fruits, more coconut water, more leafy green vegetables, more sunlight.
Leafy green to help you get the green, keep that machine running clean.
That I would add, and usually this won't cost a thing. For people that want to live a more balanced life, some of the things that you can do are just breathe. Just take time out to just breathe. That doesn't cost you a thing.
It's
Go
free.
outside
It's free
and
for the moment, at least.
get you some sunlight.
Not this. Not this.
Sunlight, you know.
Some actual real vitamin D.
That won't cost you a thing. You know. Another thing that can help bring the body into balance is fasting. You know. That won't cost you a thing. Give your body a rest, give it a break. That won't cost you nothing.
Doesn't mean you have to skip like days or months of eating. Just means that you take some things out. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Take some things out. Okay. Put some things in. Okay. And that's it. I mean, it's simple. And missing a meal every once in a while is not a bad thing. Okay.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Actually, it's actually a good thing because you give your body a rest to focus on other things that may need to focus on. Typically, if you live over here in the West, your body may need to definitely focus on other things other than just digesting food all the time, all day. So, and just getting more water, going to sleep. And if you notice, all of these things that can dramatically change your life, they don't cost you nothing. Breathing, fasting, sunlight, sleep, and water.
Food, sleep, and sex. The first two are the most important for the third, okay? You get the proper kind of food, right? The proper kind of energy. You give your body the proper kind of rest, okay? The proper kind of rest. And that makes the third thing the best, okay? You know what I'm saying? Food, sleep, sex.
Yeah.
And that's from a Chinese medicine perspective, you know, like that's the three joys. It's food, sleep, and sex. Three treasures. Qi, Jing, Shen. But it's more like Shen, Qi, and Jing, you know. Shen being your mind, Qi being your energy, your Jing being your essence. And that's your essence is stored in your down there, you know what I'm saying? It's sacred. It's a sacred space for a reason. Sacred space for a sacred place. Immaculate conception. That's what you are. You, me, this beautiful skin tone. I gotta say, shout out to Mr. Yosef and Miss Elise. Y'all did a beautiful job on this woman's skin. Let me tell you what, y'all set up with some great genetics. But I'm gonna get to that another time. Real quick, I'm gonna just go over some things to consider when you're going through a detox, things to consider, to keep in mind that will happen, because a lot of times people just want the beautifying effects of the detox and they don't expect the ugly portion, okay? Use an ugly duckling before you realize you was a swan. Keep that, okay? I'm dropping that. Bling, bling. You got your net? I got my net out because she gave me some jewels today. But in case, some things you want, see that? Okay, so some of the things you want to consider when you're going through a detox are, one is going to increase your bathroom usage. You're either going to be urinating more, you're going to be having more fecal movements, okay, more bowel movements. That is not a bad thing. Average person has at least 20 pounds of undigested matter in their system, unless you maintain a healthy eating habit. Even the healthiest of us as eaters still maintain and retain a little bit of fecal matter in our system. So it's important for us to expect a little bit of that being going out of there too. If you're more on the healthier side, you may want to consider consulting a colonist. You know, get a colonic, or consider a safe enema. Okay, think about that. Secondly, acne, rash, and outbreaks on the skin, they are kind of common. Mostly because, hey, your skin is an organ too, okay? Your skin detoxes too. You do it normally with sweating, which is actually like a form of urination, because in urination you only get rid of 1% of your body's total fluid. Okay, so if your urine comes out dark or nasty looking or foul in odor, just think the other 99% that was retained in your system is going to come out in your sweat. So if you're wondering why you smell like ammonia, or you wondering why your homeboy or your homegirl got that little, you need to be a real friend and be honest. Keep it real. Be real, like she told me. You need to be real where you what?
Fake at.
Be real where you fake
And
at.
if you eat a diet that is high in meat and those proteins, that will have a lot to do with that ammonia smell when you're going through a detox. So that's something to take into consideration. If you don't have a lot of those animal products in your diet, the smell won't be as bad.
It won't be as bad. All right. So keep that in mind. Also, consuming the right kind of fruits and the right kind of fruits and herbs will also change the way that your body odor smells. Okay. Secondly, also in the case of those rashes and skin irritations, consult your dermatologist or your primary care physician. Once again, we're not doctors, not yet. That's both of us, because we're moving to that level. We're moving on up to that righteous side, the
However,
conscious side.
I am a clinical skincare therapist and esthetician. So
And
if someone wants
what?
to consult with me about their skin,
consult with 786
they can do
603
that.
2291. That's who you can contact.
Yes,
I'm also a certified esthetician. I'm not licensed, but I am certified. So some of the stuff that I'm telling you, like I said, I told you, if you watched the first video, I told you this in the first video, you need to look at the credentials. Look at the credentials, baby. Look at the credentials. All right, look at the credentials. Keep it at 100. All right, but yeah. So, consult your PCP, your dermatologist, your licensed esthetician. If you don't want to go the route of actually seeing your dermatologist, but it's a stepping stone. Remember, she's not a doctor. All right, licensed esthetician, but she can give you some good information. But she's gonna, more times than not, if she can't handle it, like any good licensed professional will do, they referring it to somebody who know a little bit more than they do. Okay, we don't know it all. We trying to, as much as possible. All right, and
we're just here to help.
And also know what you're allergic to, man. I mean, Jesus, yo. So many people have these problems. You don't even. I love this. I love eating this, but my throat itch all the time. I don't even know why. But I love it. It tastes so good. You allergic to that, and you wonder why your skin breaking out. You got eczema and such craziness, yo. You crazy. Gotta do something about that. Things to avoid. Alright? Avoid the microwave. It's chemotherapy for your food. Think about it. You don't believe me? Do the experiment with the plant. Put some water in the microwave. Nuke it for just 1 minute. Not even 1 minute. Nuke it for 30 seconds. Try germinating it. Alright? Do the same experiment with a regular cup of water. Try germinating the seed. You will see a difference in what's real and where it's fake at. Okay? You need to be real where they fake at. And they ain't trying to keep it real with you. Alright, frying oils. You want to be careful about frying oils. It changes the properties of some of the oils that you consume, and it can actually make it more dangerous for your body. Alright, what do you think about frying oils?
Well, it's best to, if you're going to cook using oils, to cook at a very low temperature, and definitely stay away from hydrogenated oils.
Hydrogenated, which means?
Usually a lot of cottonseed oil, soybean oils, they're typically hydrogenated oils, high in, which is another tricky word for, that they use to disguise these trans fats and things like that.
Hydrogenated.
So, you want to stay away from hydrogenated oils, and if you are going to use the oil, use like an avocado oil or a coconut oil, and if you are going to cook using oils, you don't want to fry the life out of your food. You want to just saute it and cook at a very low heat.
And you also said something else that's interesting. For the ladies, soybean stimulates the production of estrogen. Extra estrogen in your body will block calcium. Calcium is what's needed to absorb iodine. So if you blocking the iodine by blocking the synthesis or the absorption of calcium, those fibroids, that polycystic ovarian syndrome, those other ovarian issues you got going on, that I don't know why I feel like this. I don't know why my cycle didn't come on, or why my cycle's still on, or why my cycle look like that. Girlfriend, like I said, you need to check yourself before they wreck yourself, Okay? You need to know your body better than anybody else. Soybean, bad for you. Okay? You want good protein, you get it from the kale. You get it from the vegetables. You get it from the fruit. You don't need that soybean. All right.
Yes.
Soy milk, horrible.
Soy is it's man-made. It was made in a laboratory. It is a plastic byproduct.
Plastic byproduct.
Mm-hmm.
You mean to tell me you got no, not me, but some people got plastic in their body. They putting plastic byproduct in their bodies.
And for the record, some of you sisters, y'all know y'all already is doing the most.
Doing the most.
Y'all don't need no more estrogen.
No more estrogen.
No more estrogen.
Which messes
in your
up.
System.
Yeah, I mean, like, hey, that stuff messes up your cycle. It messes up your cycle. If you want to have a baby, you want to have children, if you want to be a healthy, part of being a healthy woman is being fertile. If you are not fertile, you need to consult somebody with that, okay? It's not necessarily a good thing unless you have no interest or desire in having children, then that's fine. But you still can suffer some of the other things that go along with that. Along with soy, along with that blockage, that extra production of estrogen, which blocks your calcium, osteoporosis, blocking the calcium. You need the calcium for strong, healthy bones. They told you, sunlight, vitamin D. Leavened bread you want to avoid. Get some Ezekiel bread. Get the wrap though. Don't get that what looks like a loaf. Don't do that to yourself. Okay, I'm trying to help you. Ezekiel wrap. I love it. You leave it in the oven a little bit longer. I love nachos. I can't eat corn anymore because corn is. Me ain't even want to touch corn right now. I might get hurt talking about corn. Okay, but I like nachos. I made Ezekiel nachos with the Ezekiel wrap. I left it in the oven long enough to get dry, kind of crunchy. It's a sprouted grain. Ezekiel, there's a verse in the Bible about it. Sunflowers, flax seeds. It's in there. How you should be eating. It's already in the book. It's dictated. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. Basic instructions. Woo-tay. I came to bring. Nah, we ain't bring no pain. In any case, avoid the microwave. Avoid frying oils. Avoid leavened bread. Also, some things to really consider. You need to avoid a narrow-minded way of thinking. Okay. Anything is for breakfast. Anything is for lunch. Anything can be for dinner, as long as it's good for you. Okay, let me make sure that's right. Okay, as long as it's good for you. You had dinner. You prepared a meal for dinner last night. You don't know what to eat for breakfast. Dinner looks good for breakfast. Have it. Nothing wrong with that. It's okay, right? And you need to also get rid of your expectations for quick results. Okay, eating a plant-based diet, you will lose weight. You will lose it healthily. You will You will lose the weight healthy. It's time for me. It's time for me to get going. So I'm trying to wrap this up. But yeah, it's really good for you to do it like that. Okay, get rid of those expectations for quick results. It's not gonna happen overnight. It took you a long time to get screwed up. Alright? That stuff takes a process. It accumulates over time. It will take time for you to reach a healthy state. So keep that in mind, okay? And also, one more thing for you spiritual people. I'm going to leave you with just a little word, okay? Do a little preaching. Alright, you've all heard the term, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, and that's true when the weapon comes from nature, okay? You got trees, you got rocks, whatever viruses, whatever Mother Nature throws at you, she can use that herself to treat you too, okay? But anything that does not come from nature, when it is not formed from nature, supersedes nature, or basically supernatural in birth, meaning it didn't come from nature's own way of conception. These GMOs, these wounds, they run deeper, so you got to take that into consideration. All right, it's going to take time to repair the damage. Supplements are good also, but they don't replace the real thing. Get it from a natural source. Alternatives, like if you're looking for supplementation, Juice Plus is a product that I use from time to time. You know, it's got your complete source of daily vitamins and minerals. It's really good stuff. They make it. I got my daughter on it. Okay, they got a child health survey. I'm seeing the results of healthy eating alternatives being provided to children. Okay, if you're looking for that, check them out. JuicePlus.com. Or contact me 718-650-3539 and give you more information on that. Or if you're a heavy coffee drinker, which and you're concerned about your caffeine, your alternatives, but you don't want to give up your coffee, check out another product that a friend of mine who's also working with us. His name is, I'm not going to give his name out until he comes on, but he distributes a product called Organo Gold. It replaces a nice alternative to your coffees, your teas that are caffeinated, healthier forms of chocolate. It's really good stuff. Okay, teas and supplements. Yeah, and then consult a holistic lifestyle counselor. 786-603-2291. That's how you reach this young lady. She has holistic workshops, all the way from like consulting you about how to lose weight, how to detoxify your body. You see, she's got a wealth of information. Okay, but she can give you more information. Especially, she works better in a one-on-one, consult kind of thing. And we keeping it professional. Okay, don't be getting no wrong ideas. She got beautiful skin. And last but not least, a lot of times, it's very rare, but as a massage therapist, I've been experiencing that some people are not as physical, and so their issues really manifest in a spiritual way, and then what goes on in their spirit begins to affect their physical, because it's all connected: the mind, the body, and the spirit. The mind is the connection. It's what's the facilitator between the spirit, which houses the original code, the original DNA, and the body, which is the manifestation of that original information. So it moves progressively through the layers. Either if you're a physical person, physical issues can manifest in your spirit. If you're a spiritual person, spiritual issues can manifest in your body. And if you're a really mental person, which means you're the type of person to just pick up a book and just say, oh my God, that sounds like I got that. You're a mental person, and that's just going to throw the whole cycle off balance, okay? So you need to mental detox, okay? Time is a precious thing to us all. So, even though this video does not cost you a thing, we do accept donations in the form of payment. I take barters also. Like if you want to consult with me on a physical level about what it is that's going on with your body in regards to how massage therapy can help that, I got you. And that's the next thing, because I didn't want to give you all this information and go straight to the good stuff. You just want instant gratification. You got to do some work, all right? Compensation. We need compensation and donation for any service except this one. Remember, this one is free. Books, barters, information, and money. It helps this whole thing run, okay? So, with that in mind, thank you very much for participating. Fanasha's Divine Essentials, ladies and gentlemen, Fatima Shabazz, do you have anything that you want the people to know?
Just one thing that I would leave the people with. One thing that we didn't mention, we went over a lot of the different vitamins, minerals, vitamin L, vitamin love. When you're going through the detoxification process, there's a lot of things that come out during that process. There's a lot of emotions that come out. There's a lot of past traumas that may come out. Many things come out during the process of a detox. So you want to make sure that you get enough vitamin L, which means just loving yourself during that process. Take time to really just embrace yourself and accept yourself for who you are. No matter where you are at the point of your life when you're going on a detox, and just never stop loving yourself.
Never stop loving yourself. We love you. It's a message of love. It's a message of light. It's a way for you to get better. Get better by being better. Staying better by praying and doing everything else that's necessary. Love you. Once again, Jonathan Moore, licensed massage therapist. 718-650-3539. Fatima Shabazz of Fanasha's Divine Essentials, 786-603-2291.
Make sure you check out my website,
Check out the website.
www.fanashaa.com.
Oh, and we can also be found on Facebook if you're interested. Jonathan Moore, LMT. It's a picture of like the profile of my face, like all warped, but it's me,
We got to
okay?
change that.
I'm gonna change that. And then Fanasha's Divine Essential on Facebook. Okay.
Oh, and if you guys want to ever leave us a donation, you can leave a donation on the Fanashaa.com website under the donation.
If you paying me, you make sure you say attention. You know, to Jonathan Moore. To Jonathan Moore. Don't get my money and her money confused. We working together, but our money don't do it like that, baby. All right. We love you. Peace. Vitamin L.
Peace, love, and divine wisdom.